Hello, Bootsy Greenwood here, and I am breaking down Transurfing a chapter at a time. Today we're going to be talking about letters from the past, which is an FAQ kind of thing. A lot of people have written into Vadim and they've asked him a lot of questions. What most of these questions boil down to are two things. Number one, I bet you can guess, money. Number two, I would say romantic, right? How do I find my soulmate? Oh boy. Well, I didn't really talk or touch on money too much at the beginning of this, even though he does mention it earlier on, like the Wave of Fortune. Money is a byproduct of what you provide to the world, okay? It comes about of its own accord once you're on your path to your goal. It's not something that you really need to concern yourself with as a first as a first priority, right? And when we do our slides and visualizations, we need to be careful with that as well. Because he talks about how dangerous it is to sort of visualize a lot of money, right? Like you could see like 10 grand in a suitcase or something like that and be like, but that's not your money. Maybe you just see that money in a movie, or you see that, you see a photo of money in a suitcase or something like that, and you see it, but it's elusive. So you have to be very determined and focused in your slides. Be vigilant with the slide and make sure that you don't miss very obvious things like this thing is mine. Like I'm in this thing. Like don't just see the car that you want or whatever, right? Like that's such a shallow example. I understand, but it works, just to get the image in. Be in the car, right? Smell the leather. Like know that it's yours, right? Like reach over, open the glove box and see the registration in your name, right? Like anything that you can do to convince your subconscious mind or your soul that this is your reality, because dreams don't come true, but realities always come true. Realities come true. And so that's what we want to keep in mind. As far as soulmates go, I think like whatever, on this one, I don't know, the soulmate thing, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Maybe it's true for some people, maybe it's not. Maybe you determine that, and that's up to you and your, the way you view the world. But one thing I will say, and we all know this just from dating and just from, being in life, is when you give up on finding somebody, that is when they come into your life. What kind of person do you want to be with? Be that type of person, right? Do you want to be with somebody who just can't wait to get into another relationship and is a serial monogamist? Or do you want to be in the kind of relationship where somebody's really doing something awesome, right? And you're along and part of that journey. So that's obviously way, way, way better than, the first thing where, like a lot of serial dater type people, they'll just jump from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they don't really ever work on themselves. They don't ever really find out what their goal is because they're too busy just trying to attach and latch onto somebody else. And sometimes some of us get those type of people that just attach and latch on to us as well. So that is also something to look out for. Just keep in mind that when people are energy vampires toward you, that 9 times out of 10, they're not really that conscious of it. They don't know really what they're doing. They're just trying to fill their cup. They don't know that filling their cup means taking something from you, right? But maybe they've just been taught that. Maybe their childhood, it was like that, and they learned that model from somebody. So just be empathetic, sympathetic, really, probably more might be the word there. Be sympathetic to folks. The only summary in this chapter, and you're welcome to go through and read this chapter. There's a run of bad luck. There's relationship stuff. And now we talked about the run of bad luck. Okay, when things start to go bad, what do? We panic. We throw out all the things that we know we should be paying attention to. Remember, it's to my advantage, right? When something bad happens, quote unquote, right? We don't know that it's bad. We can't know that it's bad because we can't know everything. We don't know all the variables that are out there in flux and just wobbling around, okay? So when something happens, it's to my advantage, right? Like that is the attitude. And if you're not careful, this can sound arrogant and it can sound even mean-spirited if you talk to other people about these ideas and you're like, well, I just say it's to my advantage. And then they're like, well, I just got this diagnosis. And you're like, well, that's to your, you can't, like, hey, have some compassion. You don't, not everybody needs to hear it, right? And most people don't. Nobody really likes unsolicited advice. So allow people to come to you. Put these practices in your life and people will start to ask you how, right? Instead of offering advice and being preachy. Nobody likes the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons that knock on your door. I don't know. Maybe some people do. I'm not a big fan. They always freak me out. I think it's the cops, and I want to run. So the only thing that he says in this book is if you don't control your reality, reality will control you. So that's the only summary there. And I hope you guys are enjoying my hat collection. I'll say it again, okay? I'm wearing this to get attention because life is a serious, serious game, all right? It's a cosmic joke, people. So get out there and have some fun. Thanks. We'll see you next time.